dick soap. I don't know why I brought this back to dick soap. It always comes back to dick soap. Hey y'all, it's Brody, and I'm back today for Pride Month to do the Enby Booktube Tag. If you are not aware what this tag is, it is a tag that Rhiannon created in order to bring non-binary representation to light in the booktube community. While the booktube community is very accepting, it is difficult to find other non-binary creators. Finding non-binary books, non-binary authors, it's hard. It's hard to find good representation. And that's kind of what this tag was created to do, was to help us find each other and to help people who aren't non-binary, who may be like binary, trans, or cisgender, to be able to find, you know, works as well. Not something I talked about frequently on my channel before, but I am non-binary. I do not prescribe to the gender norms. I prefer they, them pronouns, but I'm not opposed to he, him, or anything like that. I'm not going to get upset if someone uses he, him pronouns for me. But I do prefer they, them pronouns, and I don't identify as either gender. So just to clear that up. You would know that if you follow my Twitter, but, you know, I know some people don't really care about the Twitter, they just want to focus on the videos. And also, you know, you can understand things. Like, dick soap. I don't know why I brought this back to dick soap. It always comes back to dick soap. Always. I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with gender before I just jump into the tag, because I think that's also a really interesting topic that not a lot of people cover. My experience with being non-binary. My entire life, I thought I was cisgender, because that's, you know, how I was raised to believe. You know, being queer in any capacity was not something that was very talked about back home. It wasn't something that was very accepted back home, where I'm from. And I didn't know that non-binary was a thing, or genderqueer, or gender fluid, or anything like that. I knew gay, bi, trans, and then, you know, plus. I didn't know that cisgender was a thing. So once I found out about all of this, I started questioning a lot of things, and I was like, you know, what does it really mean to feel like a man, to know that you're a man? And I went with the theory that, like, gender was fake or whatever for a while, but then I started talking about it to one of my friends who was trans, and I realized that because he felt so strongly about his own gender, it wasn't fair for me to say that gender was fake, and I was looking at it from an incorrect perspective. And, you know, so I was like, okay, let's do some more digging, and I did more digging, and I talked to a couple of people anonymously online, and some advice that I was given was try on labels like they are hats. You know, try it out with yourself for X amount of time. If it feels right, then great. If it doesn't, you can take it off and put on a new hat. But you're not stuck wearing a hat forever. And understand that all of this stuff is fluid. So that was something that really helped me with my coming to terms and realizing that I don't have a gender. So, without any more rambling, let's just jump right into the tag. There are only like 4 questions. So yeah. Question number 1. Talk about a book that features a non-binary character. For this one, I'm going to pick Every Day by David Levithan. This was, and still remains, one of my favorite books of all time, and is the book that, upon reading it, I started to question things. It follows a soul named A, and A has no gender, has no family, has no anything. A is just a spirit, a being, an entity, who wakes up every day in the body of someone different. And there are very good discussions in this book about how A doesn't identify as male or female. They just identify as however they wake up. And there's not a label to put on A, but I have always considered A to be non-binary, because the textbook definition of non-binary is anything that doesn't fit the gender binary of strictly male, strictly female. And that's what A is. So, question number 2 is a 2019 release, one that's come out already or will come out, that features a non-binary character. I was going to pick I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I have a review of that coming hopefully soon. But I wanted to pick different answers to the questions than what I've seen so far and kind of diversify, you know, the answers. So I am going to go with my most recent read, The Lost Coast by Amy Rose Capetta. This book is fucking beautiful, and I will be talking about it more, but right now I'm talking about the non-binary representation. This book follows a girl named Danny who one day just randomly decides, you know, she and her mother are going to move to California where the redwoods are, and she meets this, like, coven of witches, and everyone in this book is queer, everyone in this book is representative of a different race, different body type, different sexuality, and one of the characters is non-binary, and oh my god, it just made me so happy to see it just, you know, put in there. The fact that it was even featured just made me love this book even more, because this book has everything I want. It has diversity, it has witches, and realistic witchcraft at that. It has spooky trees, it has, you know, characters with, like, physical ailments. It has everything that I want in a book. No one is talking about it, and it's pissing me off. Please go out and pick this up. Alright, thank you. Question number 3 is to talk about a non-binary author. Not doing any of the authors that I saw Rhiannon mention in their video, so I'm going to recommend an author that I never hear anyone talk about on BookTube, and that is Tosh McAdam. If you search Tosh McAdam on YouTube, you will find my old channel, and it is very, very uncomfortable, because Tosh McAdam is one of the first, no, they were the first author that I ever did, like, a solid book review for. It was, I received a free e-arc in exchange for a review. It was fantastic. I thought I was making it. And I have maintained contact with Tosh up until now, and they actually had a book come out earlier this year, late last year. They primarily write dystopian, sci-fi, young adult. So much diversity in everything by them that I have ever read. Definitely underrated. Definitely recommend checking them out. And the fourth and final question is to recommend 3 non-binary booktubers. And I know of a couple, more than 3, but I'm going to pick 3 that I haven't seen mentioned in the tag. The first one I'm going to recommend is B from Bookish Pisces. My last video included B, I think. It was the Wordathon announcement video. B is an angel after my own heart. B is one of the most genuine people I have ever met in the book community, and they're so real, and you know exactly what you're getting with B, and I'm so grateful to have met them. They do a lot of book reviews, very eloquently done book reviews that I will never be able to compare to. Hilarious on Twitter. Go follow B on Twitter and the channel. I'll link everyone that I'm mentioning down below, so you can go find that downstairs. The second booktuber I'm going to talk about today is Adriana from Perpetual Pages. Adriana is, like, my Jesus Christ. That's probably offensive to say. I'm sorry. Whenever I was first looking into more, you know, looking into queer booktubers rather than, you know, the big ones up top that everyone knows when you're starting out in the community. Adriana was one of the first ones that I found. Adriana was the first person in any capacity, you know, from day-to-day life, online, wherever. Adriana was the first person I ever found that is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. And I remember that was just so life-changing for me and was a big inspiration to me in starting my channel, because even before, whenever I was like, you know, no one's gonna want to hear from me, blah blah blah, I realized that the book community was severely lacking in people's perspectives, and at that time I didn't know of any real, you know, on the page Enby books, and I was like, no one's gonna care. And then I was like, but Adriana, people care about Adriana. And that was such a moment for me where I was like, people will listen, and we have a voice here. And some of my favorite book reviews ever come from Adriana. The 5 Reasons to Read blank series that they have is great. Highly recommend. Very sweet person from the times that I've talked to them. And the third booktuber I'm going to talk about is Vynexa from the channel Vynexa. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Vynexa is a new friend in my life. Just very recently, they came out as non-binary, and I was immediately like, subscribe, follow, we're talking, you're a badass, because this is a really hard thing to do for some people. For some people, you know, it's a little bit easier. If you go watch Vynexa's video, there was such bravery in that, and it really touched me, and I was like, nope, you're one of mine now, we're gonna be friends, sorry. So that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment with your favorite, you know, they them booktuber. That's what I want to hear. That's comment question of the day. Comment who one of your favorite they them booktubers is. Give me people to watch and subscribe to and support, because that's the point of this. That's the point of this tag. Thank you to Rhiannon for making this tag. I think it's very much needed. And now I'm going to tag some people. Who am I going to tag? So, tag, you guys are it. I hope you had as much fun doing this tag as I did. I hope you have a wonderful whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time with a video, and I'm very glad to be back. Alright. That's not an outro. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. We're gonna get better at this, I promise.